Cycles, Episode 1, What's in the Box?
Welcome. In this episode, we are going to be doing a new bike build. We'll show you all the steps that we take when building your bike and why it's important to have a certified mechanic build it for you. But we're also going to be solving a mystery because we don't know what bike is in this box. As far as we can tell, it's from the late 1980s, but we're unable to figure out what exact bike is in here. So let's open the box, solve this mystery, and build this bike with some retro glow style. Let's take a quick look at the box before we open it. Here's the front of the box. You see it says Columbus W2916. The model number is 72-2370. It's made in Taiwan. And if we go around the side, we can get a little more information. Again, there's the model number 72-2370. It's a 27-inch, 10-speed ladies bike, and it's red. And yes, we can see that is red from the hole in the box here. We got this bike from the Geneva Cycle Shop, which closed in late 2024. We helped the owner clean out some of his inventory, and he gave us this bike. We will take a look and see what's inside. Okay, I've removed the straps and the staples on the top of the box, so let's take a look inside here. Let's see what we got. All right, so yeah, right away we see the tires. We'll have to check those, depending how old they are. Hopefully they're not dry rotted. See, it's a 10-speed bike. See, handlebars. There's minimal packaging. Bikes nowadays seem to have a ton of packaging, which is one nice feature about having your bike built with us, is that we take care of all the garbage for you, so you won't be left with a huge box in your house. So what I'm going to do now, it's really hard to tell still what kind of bike this is. So I'm going to dig out the instruction manual, hopefully it's in that box down there, and then hopefully that'll give us an idea of what bike this is. All right, we finished opening up the accessory box, and we're not much closer to knowing exactly which bike this is. Now, there is an owner's manual, but it does not have a date in it, and it's one of those generic owner manuals that kind of goes over every possible bike you might encounter from this brand. So nothing to really tell us exactly what model this bike is. Now, it does have the seat post. We have the saddle, the pedals, the reflectors, and what appears to at one time have been a bottle of touch-up paint. Seems to have evaporated a long time ago. So what we're going to do now is get the bike all the way out of the box, put it up on a stand, and figure out what we have. Now that the bike is out of the box, we can finally solve this mystery. So let's take a look. So it looks to be a Concord Sport XT road bike. I don't know anything about Concord bikes, so we're going to have to do a little research to find out what year this bike was made and how much it sold for. But until then, let's get this bike built and ready to ride. One of the first things we like to check when building a bike out of the box is how freely the axle moves within the hub on the wheel. This is something that gets overlooked quite often, and when these bikes come from the factory, especially some department store bikes, they're cranked down all the way and very hard to move. So we want to feel, right now I'm feeling a little bit of grinding, probably because this bike has been sitting for so long. It just needs to be opened up and lubed. So we're going to lube it up and have it nice and smooth for the rider. Now that the hub has been rebuilt, the wheel is moving nice and smooth. So the next step is to true or straighten the wheel. We want to make sure as the wheel is rolling, there is equal distance on the left and right hand side for the brakes, and that there's not a wobble with the wheel moving back and forth. A lot of times in shipping, these boxes will get hit, and the front wheel especially will definitely need to be straightened. So we're going to use these calipers in the truing stand. It's going to help us determine which side of the wheel needs to be straightened, and we'll clean up the wheel, straighten it up, and put it on the bike. Now that both wheels have been trued and the hubs have been adjusted, we're putting the wheels back on the bike. I've already put on the rear wheel, but before I put on the front wheel, we want to check the headset and fork and make sure that it's moving nice and smoothly. These two, just like hubs, get cranked down at the factory and can make it hard to move. In this case, I'm feeling a little bit of resistance. So we're going to loosen the headset, add a little grease, and make sure it's nice and smooth for the rider. The headset has been adjusted and now the fork moves very smoothly in there. The front wheel has been installed. The next thing we're going to do is install the handlebars so we can start working on the brakes. So we just finished putting on the handlebars. I didn't crank these down all the way because once we get the bike onto the ground, you're going to want to stand over it, make sure that it's the right height and that the bars are out at the correct angle for you. We also enabled the brakes. So we made sure that the brake pads themselves were even with the rim and that they are centered to the wheel. So when you brake, you get a nice, even, smooth stop. Next, we are going to work on the shifting. In order to test the shifting on the bike, we first put on the pedals and inflated the tires to the correct pressure. In this case, it's 85 psi. Once we had the pedals on, we could easily pedal the bike and shift through the gears. So we made sure that the gears shift nice and smoothly, both up front and in the rear. In addition, we put on the reflectors and a kickstand. The next step is to take it off the stand, make some final adjustments to our seat and handlebars, and then give it a good test ride.
Now that we know what's in the box, let's dig in and do some research. We spent some time trying to find information on this specific bike, but have found it to be a challenge. One issue is that there's a Dutch bike company that is also called Concord, but they spell it with an E at the end. Those are highly sought after, so it made finding information about this Concord a bit difficult. And there's also a Walmart e-bike called the Concord. But from what we have found, these bikes were distributed by Columbus Cycle and Supply Company in Columbus, Ohio from the late 1960s or early 70s to the mid 1980s. Most of the bikes were imported from Japan or Taiwan and then sent to local bike shops. They had a line of mid-range bikes that would allow local bike shops to compete with Schwinn. They also had a line of BMX bikes that are very popular, and you can find quite a bit of information about those. This bike, however, we could not find any reference to. It was probably made towards the end of Columbus Cycle's time in business in the 1980s. It is very similar to a 1988 Cycle Pro Regent that we have in the shop. We will put any references in the description of this video and a link to the PDF of the instruction manual. The Concord Sport XT is a nice steel road bike and will make a great ride for someone. If you have any information on this bike, please let us know in the comments. Thank you for joining us today as we found out what mysterious bike was in the box. We also hope you learned a bit about why it is a good idea to have your bike professionally assembled. At Retro Glow Cycles, we offer bike service to the max, and we would enjoy building your next ride. Don't forget some of these awesome reasons to have your bike built here. First, we'll pick up your bike in the box at your location within 10 miles of Lombard, or you can just drop it off at the shop. Your bike is professionally built. In this video, we showed you some of the items that are commonly missed when building a bike. We have the tools needed to ensure your bike is built properly, and you only need to worry about riding. Your packaging will be discarded. You don't have to worry about that large box and all of the packing materials. We'll take care of that for you. We'll also make sure that you are comfortable on your new bike, adjusting the seat and handlebars to your liking. And finally, we'll deliver your bike, fully assembled and ready to ride, within 10 miles of Lombard, or you can just pick it up at the shop. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you, and have a great ride.